99341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Jubilee Radio in Keta, A1 Radio in Bogatanga, and Gaskia FM in Bono East. We're also around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, Ghana Standards Authority reviews almost 50% of over 4,000 weighing scales used by licensed cocoa buying companies during 2016 to 2019 season have been illegally adjusted, describing the practice as worrying.
From 2016-2017 season through to 2018-2019, it was worrying. There were instances where there was as high as nearly 50% of scale failing.
We have more as Cocoa Board results. We introduced electronic weighing scales the next farming season as a measure to curb the canker following Joy997's investigative report detailing stealing of cocoa by clerks of licensed cocoa buyers. Also in this edition.
Such a part of our registration. And they have no business blocking people, legitimate people who go to register.
Defense Minister Dominic Inete will accuse his NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketiah of breaching Regional Security Council directive prohibiting political parties from busing people to registration centers, which the military is enforcing.
Unfortunately, Johnson Asiedu Nketiah refused to respect that agreement. He knew that they have signed to it. He knew that his cabinet had signed to such an agreement that they shouldn't bus anybody.
Meanwhile, Electoral Commission to expunge names of foreigners from the voters register as it reviews, it has registered over 90% of prospective voters.
We'd like to assure all Ghanaians that we as the Commission will do our best to expunge their names and to ensure that at the end of the day, only Ghanaians who are eligible find their names on the register.
Also in sports. We'll bring you more from sports, and then also later Beyonce's Blackest Skin is still stopping the trends, and of course the already video which features dancehall act Shatta Wale is still buzzing.
We never knew we would do CNN, we never knew we would do BBC, we never knew we would even be Beyonce video, but even join you.
And today we put the spotlight on some Ghanaians who played a part in the making of that historic video. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Aparu. Please stay for details. Thanks for your company. And this afternoon, the Ghana Standards Authority has revealed almost 50% of over 4,000 weighing scales used by the licensed cocoa buying companies during the 2016 to 2019 cocoa seasons have been tampered with. This revelation comes in the wake of a Joy997 investigative report detailing stealing of cocoa by produce clerks of licensed cocoa buyers today. Missing Kilos explores how officials of state and privately licensed buying companies adjust weighing scales to steal as much as 100 kilos from a single farmer. In the first part of the three-piece documentary, Joy997 investigative journalist Kwete Nate unveils a national plunder of the country's farmers.
After weighing my cocoa, I have brought the cocoa to the first shed at Amokwa. A man in his early 40s offers to buy the cocoa. He volunteers to carry the cocoa. He takes me to a mud-thatched house. He doesn't own his own shed. He weighs the cocoa at home. A bag of 70 kilogram cocoa now weighs 64 kilogram on his scale. He's demanding an extra 5 kilogram despite stealing 6 kilograms through the adjustment of the scale.
In this community, it will be impossible to find a shed that will weigh cocoa at 64 kilograms. Is there a depot at Anyinase, or do they also weigh the bag at 70 kilograms? It won't be weighed at 64 kilograms, but you need to factor other costs such as transportation.
I'm at the border town of Elubu. I want to test how pervasive this canker is in this region. This 6.4-foot tall purchasing clerk works with private license buying company Fudo. His shed looks like an old church block. It hasn't been whitewashed for a long while. He's taking stock of several bags of cocoa here, but he stops to attend to us. He drops the bag of cocoa on an old rusty scale. The 70-kilo cocoa now weighs 56 kilos. 14 kilograms is stolen on every bag brought to this shed.
Is that your brother? What do you want me to do?
No, battery about that. Okay. Carry my.
If you want me to weigh, I have no issue. I will do it for you. You can come for the money tomorrow. It's 57.
59. 55. 57.
I'm at the State License Buying Company, PBC. A stout-looking produce clerk greets us with a smile. He indicates that he weighs a bag of cocoa at 67 kilograms instead of the official 64 kilogram unit set. Shockingly, the reading on the scale is 58 kilograms, a 12 kilogram difference. He indicates he will be deducting an extra kilo to dry the beans because they are not well dried.
Like the normal way they say.
What's the readings? I know that cocoa is supposed to be weighed at 64 kilograms.
67 kilos.
No, I weigh cocoa here at 67 kilograms.
You have portions of the missing kilos, that investigative piece put together by my colleague Kwete Nate. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, says steps have been taken to sanction licensed cocoa buying companies that have been using defective scales. Listen.
What we have noticed, or what we did notice and report to Cocoa Board and apply the sanctions, were that from 2016-2017 season through to 2018-2019, it was worrying. Worrying in the sense that there were instances where there was as high as nearly 50% of scales failing. For the 2016-2017 season, we looked at just about 4,400 scales, of which 35% failed, 34.4.
Wow.
In the following season, 39% failed. In the next season, 48% failed. So that is worrying. And we brought that to the attention of Cocoa Board, leading to the digital scales and other non-tamperable scales. However, the Weight and Measures Act, because Cocoa Board has been approaching this in two ways. In addition to the Weight and Measures Act, which is still on our books, which demands that for this we find 250 penalty units. Cocoa Board, since they are the main buyers, also insists on applying their own sanctions in addition to what the law prescribes, and that is something which is commendable. But for us, having nearly 40% plus failure is not acceptable.
That's the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, speaking on the Super Morning Show with Kojo Yankson. Now, Head of Public Relations at the Ghana Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, says the practice is condemnable, but adds that they are introducing electronic weighing scales the next farming season as a measure to curb the canker.
It goes against the mandate that has been given to them to buy cocoa on behalf of the board. Secondly, we commend the team that did this work to bring out these ills in our society and in our industry. And most importantly, let me say that the documentary is a bit belated. If I say belated, I mean the fact that actions have been taken, and then if you know where we are at this point in time, we've gone past the stage where we talk about the problems in the industry with regards to purchasing clerks cheating cocoa farmers. There have been some steps that have been taken the last 2 years to ensure that we nip this bad practice in the bud, and then we are able to move forward. I'm sure as we move on with the conversation, we'll get the details of it. They are now talking about introducing skills which these people will not have the opportunity to adjust it such that they will cheat the farmers. And the expectation is that beginning the next cocoa season, we'll be introducing these skills. Unfortunately, the problem has been with us over the years.
That's Fifi Boafo with the Ghana Cocoa Board. So after Missing Kilos finally airs on the Joy News channel after the 2-year legal tussle. And this is your election headquarters. This time the Electoral Commission says political parties must desist from assisting foreigners to register. It says some foreigners are currently before the courts for attempting to register while one has already been convicted. There have been reports of security agencies preventing some persons suspected to be foreigners from registering. The EC says it's unable to speak on the matter since it's not aware of the intelligence picked up by such agencies.
Question about security agencies' role in the challenge process. When somebody is challenged, we have a committee that will sit and look at it. In that committee, we have the police commander of the district, the educational boss of the district, a traditional ruler in the district. Then we also have active political parties in the district taking part. And our district officer will serve as the secretary. So clearly, the security comes in because of the police. But with the example, Mr. Kabile, you gave about some soldiers, no, our electoral commission is mainly about election management. When it comes to matters of security management, I think it's above our pay grade. So I would suggest that once it's a security issue, as far as we are concerned, we are election management experts, and that's what we do for living. We don't know the kind of intelligence the military and the police they get and why they do the things they do. They will be better placed to be able to explain that.
Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Saru. Now, Joseph Akable joins me in the studio from that EC press conference. He's just returned from that. So, Joseph, first, the EC gave an update on those registered so far. We understand the Commission says it has exceeded its target.
Yes, it's intended to register some 15 million Ghanaians. It currently has done more than 50 million, 117,000 in addition, and expected to do about 60 million at the end of the exercise. You can listen to Dr. Asari.
Now, 253,339, 1.7. Upper is 569,563, 3.8. Upper West, 104,711, 2.7. Giving us a total of 15,117,438. 15,117,438. There are no changes in terms of the positions of the regions. However, we notice that in percentage terms, some regions have increased while others have decreased. With the remaining days for the registration exercise, we expect to see the numbers increasing in the regions where the registrations are taking place in urban centers with a lot of people. On this final table, the four most populous regions are giving us almost 58% of all registered voters. That's the Greater Accra region, the Ashanti region, the Eastern and the Central regions. In conclusion, what the final figure indicates is that we have exceeded our target of 15 million. We are very grateful to the people of Ghana for their cooperation in reaching this milestone. As we have indicated on several platforms, the Commission is deeply committed to registering all those who are qualified under CI 91, CI 126 as amended, and under the 1992.
Now tell us about the EC's concerns regarding foreigners registering.
In fact, throughout the press conference, the EC chairperson and Dr. Asari spoke at length about that situation. They said currently one person has been convicted. There are others who are before the court. The EC chairperson says at the end of the exercise, they will do all within their power to expunge foreigners from the register.
Whilst we recognize that some of them may have found their way on our register, we like to assure all Ghanaians that we as a commission will do our best to expunge their names and to ensure that at the end of the day, only Ghanaians who are eligible find their names from the register. So we'd like to thank you for your continued support. We'd like to thank you for ensuring that the citizens are informed about the process as it goes on. And we look forward to seeing you again on Friday.
That's the EC chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah. It's the election headquarters, and the Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwol is challenging former President Mahama to provide evidence of his claims that the military is being used to intimidate prospective voters in NDC strongholds. Addressing a media briefing in Parliament House to respond to a social media statement by the former president, Mr. Nitiwol insisted the figures on registration so far don't support the claims. He said the former president got it all wrong and was misled. He, however, insisted the military has a responsibility to stop foreigners from entering the country, and they will continue to do that vigorously.
He was just the commander-in-chief 4 years ago, and I'm very much worried that he's taking a deliberate step to run down the military of Ghana. He did it in Aflawo. He was called out. He couldn't provide evidence. He's doing it again. Let him and let the NDC know that the military of Ghana is a very professional institution. They will not and cannot be used by any individual to do their dirty work. The days when the military could be used to do that are over. And I've always said, any party that has a history of using the military to do things that are not good is the NDC. Akufo-Addo is a Democrat. He has no intention. It's not in his blood to use the military to do any dirty work for him. He doesn't need to. We're not calling for accounts versus adverse and that kind of thing. They are hyping up. It doesn't help anybody. Am I an account?
Now, in Banda in the Bono region last week, the NDC accused the military of preventing people perceived to be their supporters from registering. A video in which some military men and NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Ketia are seen in the area have surfaced. Listen to excerpts.
Soldier phone is part of our registration. And they have no business blocking people, legitimate people who will go to register.
Well, Mr. Nitiwol says in the Banda area, there's a regional security council directing or prohibiting political parties from busing people to registration centers, which the military is enforcing. He accuses the NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Ketia of breaching that directive.
If the MPP try to bus people, the NDC will try to stop them. And we don't want that to happen. So the security will stop you before you bring trouble. If the NDC tries to bring people, the MPP will want to stop them. And so that is it. And that agreement is general knowledge. It's everywhere for anybody who wants to see. And I have copies here that the agreement has been signed by all of them. And unfortunately, Johnson Asiedun Ketia refused to respect that agreement. He knew that they had signed to it. He knew that his candidate had signed to such an agreement that they shouldn't bus anybody. And for me to watch that video and see him with vast loads of people following him to a polling station, it's really unfortunate, and I think that he should not repeat that any longer.
Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwol. Now, Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Fifi Kwete, has described as unfortunate government's denial of knowledge on alleged intimidations by the military against others at some voter registration centers across the country. The MP was reacting to President Akufo-Addo's statement that he is unaware of any form of intimidation at any registration center in the country. This was when he addressed Islamic worshippers at the Kumasi Central Mosque last Friday.
I haven't heard someone wants to register and will be told he's not this or he's not that, so he should go. Everyone has the chance to register. I have heard that here at Asamasi and Asokore Mampong, it is ongoing as expected.
But Mr. Kwete says the president's comment is an indication of dishonesty, adding incidents of military deployment, alleged intimidation and attacks in NDC strongholds manifest the governing New Patriotic Party's desperation to hold on to political power.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, because you know, if you know exactly the history of Nana Akufo-Addo, you know that even in 2008, when, for example, things were becoming hot for him, people in his party were even making plans to even come and put dead bodies in water bodies in the Volta region. So there's already history, a long history, that whenever he's desperate for power, the first group of people that he thinks about in terms of attacking are the people who come from Volta region, which is totally unfortunate. Now, so for him to be denying, for me, it's just letting the world know that not only are we dealing with people who are desperate for power, but they also don't even have the honesty to accept wrong things in order for them to correct the wrong thing here.
Ketu South MP Fifi Kwete there. Now let's stay in that constituency, that's the Ketu South constituency, because the NPP has been addressing a news conference on the voter registration exercise there. Fred Kwame Asare is our correspondent. He joins us on the line. Fred, bring us up to speed on what the governing party has been saying.
Well, I'm afraid the presser is yet to start. as we speak, the regional chairman, Makafi Wanya, the regional secretary, and then some other bigwigs of the party are in a crunch meeting deliberating on what to put across. However, we got wind that they will be addressing issues pertaining to the ongoing voters registration exercise in the constituency, and then also speak to some issues raised by the former President John Mahama on tribal some tribal comments made by former President John Dramani Mahama. So basically, those are the two issues we got wind of that the party would be addressing. However, they are still in a crunch meeting, and they will soon come out to address the press.
That's Fred Kwame Asare, our Volta regional correspondent. There will be more from that press conference on election brief on the Joy News channel at 1:30. Now, we're barely 4 months to election 2020. We ask, has the nation learned lessons from the bloody Ayawaso West Wogon by-election with pockets of violence at registration centers? Here is a report from the Joy News political desk.
A bloody by-election at Ayawaso West Wogon that saw masked operatives of the National Security fire shots.
You killed a man in his own house. You leave his own house.
We will count on the cooperation of all and sundry for the ultimate objective of investigating the violence and related incidents.
Ghana's democracy does not need vigilantes and vigilantism.
Pressure mounted on political parties to disband vigilante groups. Parliament has since passed a regulation outlawing vigilantism and all forms of party militia. The Peace Council also got political parties to sign a code of conduct. But with barely 4 months to the polls, pockets of violence have already left many Ghanaians worried. Gunshots and the killing of a prospective voter is of concern.
Any move that will be put in place to ensure that people are engaged, they are in gainful employment, they have something to do, will help us a lot.
At this point in time, it's important for the police to be seen as fair.
We are facing an imminent threat and danger.
I want to take this opportunity to appeal to the youth of the Zongos to reject being used as pawns to perpetuate political violence.
Your election headquarters will, in the coming days, focus on raising awareness on how to prevent electoral violence.
Meanwhile, the National Peace Council says in spite of its efforts to ensure peace in the country, some political actors have remained resolute in an attempt to dent its image and discredit them. Dr. Nana S.K. Asante has been speaking at an inaugural ceremony of a 10-member committee to monitor and ensure effective compliance of the roadmap signed by political parties to deal with acts of vigilantism. My colleague Chrissy Parker-Wilson joins us with more on this. So, Parker, tell us what the Peace Council has been saying specifically to the issue that they are not working hard to ensure peace in the country.
And if our members are upset, they are not happy with the recent attacks on them. They believe that their effort is being undermined by some political actors. Though they didn't mention names, but they are asking the political parties and political actors to refrain from what they call baseless allegation against them. All they are doing as Peace Council is to mediate, and that is exactly what they are doing. If other political parties believe that some group of individuals are attacking and intimidating their members, what the Peace Council can do is to call both parties and prevail on them to stop the act of violence. But openly condemning them and criticizing them in the media or in public is not their mandate and it's not within their remit. And so they're asking all the political parties to refrain from attacks and also stop attacking the Peace Council. That's my colleague Christy Parker-Wilson. As you know, Joy News, your election headquarters, has been advocating the disbandment of vigilantes as we head into the December polls. Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me with more on this. So, Evans, what's the plan as we advocate peace during the electoral process?
I mean, we'll do what media is supposed to do, which is what we did last year in the wake of the Ayawaso by-election. Shine a light and expose these acts of violence and the politicians who fuel the violence. And that is why you've seen across the board today that the violence that we've seen, we are highlighting, which is really what we're enjoined to do by the Constitution, and put pressure on the system to take action, which is something also that we commit to this year.
That's the head of our political desk, Evans Mensah. This is your election headquarters here on the Midday News. We'll take a quick break, but before then, our top story so far. Ghana Standards Authority reviews almost 50% of over 4,000 weighing scales used by licensed cocoa buying companies during 2016 to 2019 season have been illegally adjusted, describing the practice as worrying. We've also heard from the Defense Minister, Dominic Netiwol, accusing the NDC's General Secretary of breaching Regional Security Council directive prohibiting political parties from busing people to registration centers, which the military is enforcing. Still to come, we have sports, and later, Beyonce's Black is King is still topping the trends, and of course, the already video which features dancehall act Shatta Wale is still buzzing.
We never knew we would do CNN. We never knew we would do BBC.
Okay.
We never knew we would even be in
Honorable. Charlie, I make hot. Oh, me fucking coming rough.
Big man like you, why?
That damn radio show is coming back to Joy FM. Corruption Watch or whatever they call it.
Yeah, but I think that show is good for Ghana, huh?
Good for Ghana. You're not correct there.
Oh.
How do you think I make all this money? You see, for people like me, who depend on kickbacks and shady deals, you know, let me tell you something. Corruption Watch is bad for business.
Get ready for more fire on Corruption Watch. Join us as we expose corruption, give a voice to the victims, and put pressure on authorities for the culprits to be punished. Yes, the Corruption Watch show is back on Joy997 FM starting Wednesday, July 8th at 8:45 a.m. Corruption Watch is funded by Danida, and the partners for the project are CDD Ghana, GACC, GII, ASILA, Joy FM, and Adum FM. Tune in and find out how you can join in the fight against corruption.
Thanks for choosing the best. It's time now for sports with Hansman Sando.
And the maiden edition of the Joy Sports FIFA 20 Face-Off was a battle of goalkeepers as Asante Kotoko young goalie Danlad Ibrahim emerged victorious in the best of 5 series. Ibrahim attributed his victory to his ability to read his opponent and make adjustments.
I'm very happy, and I played with a better player as well because he's a very good player because I didn't even score him more than 4 goals. So actually he's a very good player, but unfortunately he can't fit me because I train and I just prepared very well before coming because I know this match was very, very crucial. So I decided to train very hard with my colleague players in Kumasi, and I deserve to win. From the first game I saw how he defended very well, and he used goalkeeper Keza as well. So when you are coming to finish, or when your striker have the ball, and then you get patient on the ball, definitely he will just drag the goalkeeper to one position so that you get the opportunity to score. So I was just watching him in the first game, and definitely you can see the next game I scored him 4 goals.
And Kumasi Asante Kotoko has the bragging rights. We look forward to the next competition in the Joy Sports FIFA 20 Face-Off. And guess what? Joy News Agenda is back. It's that segment of our news bulletins that puts the spotlight on particular issues of importance to the electorate. As you know, the government has declared 2020 as a year of roads. On today's edition, we are turning our attention on roads, and we begin from Ga, Odumase, Oshweman, in Sakina, and other areas in and around Pokuase, where residents are angry at government for unfulfilled promises to fix your roads. Listen.
Holes in the roads are not a new development in Pokuase, a suburb of Accra, under the Gan West Municipal Assembly. Here at the Pokuase-Odumase Junction, hundreds more are littered across the community. I'm going to speak to some of the residents here, the users of the road, on how they feel about it and how long this problem has occurred here.
Most of our minders lose their pregnancies because of this condition of the road. The road is very rough, very bad. And then we heard about many murders have been committed here. People have been robbed, motor riders, and even market women. Some of them they have been. But if this road is not constructed, we will never vote. We will vote because we have said that.
I want to remind President Akufo-Addo, he has deceived us. He was here last November and promised to construct our roads within 3 weeks. If the votes are not fixed, he will lose the elections.
Many patients die before reaching the Oduman hospital. Women have had miscarriages due to the bad roads. Some have bled to death in vehicles. I want President Akufo-Addo to know I am a full member of the NPP. But if things don't change this year, I will not vote.
And that's our Joy News agenda. We'll be coming to your area next. It's time for entertainment. And Becky is here in the studio. Beyonce's Black is King is still topping the trend.
Black is King is still trending. And MFI, you know,
there are some Ghanaians in there.
Yeah, there are some, but you know, say the president, he congratulates Shatawale.
Yeah,
he say you do all.
You do all.
Yes. So, I mean, but we've left out, you know, some of the people who contributed a lot to this particular song of making the video. There's one lady called Sharifa Isaka. She is a producer and creative director of Already Video here in Ghana. She spoke on Showbiz A to Z with George Quay.
I really want to hail the fact that there were so many Ghanaians involved in this, beyond just, you know, the ones who worked on the Already video. The whole team of the Black is King project, I think the number is like, actually, I think I'll just read you the names. So obviously, Shatawale, musical artist, featured in Already song and video. But Kwesi for Joy, that's his name, her creative director. He's also the co-director of Black is King. So he had a big hand in, you know, selecting the talent and whatnot. And I think, I mean, obviously, he had to, you know, represent everyone, but I'm sure he had a soft spot in his heart for how Ghana would be represented in the film, and he did well. He really did well. Well, I produced this music video, but we shot a lot of content for it. So some of the things that we...
So the other people that we left out is a dance called Lloyd. We spoke to him earlier this morning, and here's what he has to say.
You feel great. Personally, I feel like this is a dream song because I've always wanted to read the legend. There are so many things that we can work on. We believe that it will come to pass because we never knew we would do CNN, we never knew we would do BBC, we never knew we would even be in Beyonce's video, but or even join you. So this is like a big breakthrough for us, you know, and for all dancers in Africa. So like never give up.
No. So MFI, you don't know how to drink.
Time already. And that's it for the midday news. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news, of course, when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Election brief is coming up on the Joy News channel with Arabic Kumsing at 1:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it.